is a first alert action day.
It certainly is.
Why we're coming to you live on OTT and Roku. We want to give you some updates as to what's happening. It's also a hot cup of coffee today.
I have my watered down tea, actually, in my National Western mug that you can only see. They should put the logo on both sides, by the way.
You gotta heat it up, my friend. All right, I want to show you radar because things are getting kind of fun out there right now. The drive, not so fun. Jason's going to show you some of the real rough spots. But take a look at radar. We've got one band of snow that's been moving through and across the northern edge of the metro area. Now, if you've got any questions, we're also live here on Facebook. Please send us your questions. We'll be happy to answer them as we go through this. We want to give you up-to-date information as you step out the door this afternoon or as you're maybe at work right now worried about that drive home. Now, here's the band. It rolled through Longmont, Louisville, and you can see it now where some of the darker areas are, now hitting Thornton, and it's going to continue south and east from there. Right in through the Denver metro area. So if you're downtown right now, you're likely going to see some heavier snow pop up here pretty soon, and then that's going to continue south and east. We're also seeing some on that western edge of town there along I-70 heading up into the mountains, where earlier this morning, Jason, we actually had some sunshine over the fog. Now they're getting snow. So I wanted you to show some of the roads where it was coming down pretty good.
Yeah, so let me, it's going to be a little bit clunky just so I can show you a whole bunch of different cameras. And I've been talking to the Boulder, folks up in Boulder, and this is over in Superior right here on Highway 36 in McCaslin. Remember, this is the area from that last storm, that morning storm that we had. They got really creamed. Well, it's getting the treatment once again, and you can see how much snowpack is on. That's the westbound side of 36. Here's the eastbound side, and you can see how the ramps are also very slick. Okay. So I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to start switching some of the cameras so you can see the other conditions, including here is along Highway 93, and that's been one of the tough areas there this morning. Even had to close down for a time because of the icy conditions and pretty nasty crashes there in Golden. This is I-25 there at 20th, and you're looking at the traffic coming at us. That's the southbound side of I-25, and it looks mostly wet as that band is continuing to move towards town. But as Lisa was saying, that really heavy snow is coming up towards Thornton and North Glen, and look at the difference between what it was downtown to here up at 104th and I-25. So depending on where you're going, you're going to find those different road conditions. And let me put the camera here at I-25 in Arapahoe, and as it pops up, sometimes it takes just a second for it to pop up. And there's the conditions down in the Denver Tech Center. It's basically just wet as we're waiting for all that snow to make its way across Metro Denver. So as these conditions are changing, we're going to see changing road conditions. We're going to see changing drive times. And Lisa, I'll have those drive times for you coming up, what it looks like right now, coming up in just a minute. And
Mary just now writing in, one of our viewers, wondering if we've got some updated snow totals. And right now, take a look at this live shot from Denver. And you can see just how much quieter it is. The snow is really lightened up. I'm looking right now. Typically, National Weather Service will update some of those totals if they're getting some new ones coming in. And right now, it looks like about 2 to 4 inches in some spots that were under those bands of snow. It's a lot lighter right now here in Denver. Obviously, you can see there along Spear. You can still make out the lanes. But I'm going to bet here in the next 15 to 20 minutes, we're going to get some pretty good snow rolling right through the Denver metro area. And that shot's going to look a lot more like it did up and through Longmont. Frosty view there from our Viera camera in Akron. It's been pretty frosty there every morning this week. Now, take a look at the alerts. These are winter weather advisories. This was issued yesterday. Now in effect, it covers the entire Denver metro area and north up into Fort Collins and Greeley. We're likely still looking at about 2 to 5 inches of snow. If you were under one of those good bands of snow, you may have already picked up about 3 to 4, and you might tack on another 1 to 2 later today and tonight. But we are looking at, again, some light to moderate snow. It's going to change over the afternoon, and we're going to continue to see it through tonight. Most of the big totals are going to be well off to the west. Now, these are going to be some 3-day totals of about 1 to even near 2 feet of snow west of the divide and above about 10,000 feet. Look at the temperature change. Here's the other story. Yesterday at this point, we were in the 40s. We were edging into the low 50s. Now we're about 15 to 20 degrees colder than 24 hours ago. Big change. Now, this is why we issued a First Alert Action Day. People, in fact, I had someone at the grocery store, Jace, come up to me and say, hey, is tomorrow a First Alert Action Day? Sure is, and here's why. Because things can change, and we want you to be prepared for it. Hopefully, you're able to dress the kids properly this morning, and you've got a good heavy coat, because it is only going to get colder. Look at some of these wind chills right now. It feels like 5 in Greeley, 9 in Broomfield, and 4 in Aurora.
We're on Facebook Live,
yeah,
and there's a lot of questions and comments coming in. If I step into the key, this is what happens. You only see my body.
And if they change the camera, well, it's on my head.
Now you can see how big of a difference there is. So we're like, when's it going to end? What are the new expected snow totals? Because this seems like it's changing like that morning snow that we had last week, where it came in and there were some bands that came in a little bit heavier than we expected. and dropped a lot of snow.
I would say if you're under one of those bands, which we saw roll through again, Longmont, Louisville, right now hitting Thornton, heading toward the airport, you might be in about the 3 to 6 inch total. I still think we're going to see a majority of our neighborhoods at about 2 to 5, but you may be on the higher end if you get under one of those bands right now.
Frederick, somebody says that in Frederick they've already had 3 to 4 inches, and that it's very bad in Akron right now, that it's very icy, a lot of snow. Please be careful out there. It's dangerous. And it's snowing very hard in Lakewood. That's from Laura. Picking up from the kids from school should be fun, says Brenda. The parking lot should become a bit of a skating rink.
If it's really heavy for you right now, it's not going to stay like that. In fact, you're going to see that probably last for about 15 to 20 minutes as it rolls through, and then things are going to lighten up. So that'll give at least the roads a bit of a break to clear off in between. But the evening commute's going to be pretty tricky. And look at this shot, Jace, right behind us.
Let me get out of the way here.
Get that big head
I know, I
out of
take
the
up a lot of
way.
space.
Here at the Capitol, and I told you things were starting to change rapidly here in Denver, so that snow is picking up right now in downtown, and we're probably going to pick up a quick 1 to 2 inches here in the next 15 to 20 minutes. Now take a look at Futurecast if we could, I don't know, bring that camera back
and
down
if you
to
want
Lisa
to also
height.
address the chances of maybe a delayed start or snow day tomorrow, that's from Michelle.
My guess is we may have a few delayed starts only because of temperatures. Sometimes it takes a while for those buses to warm up in the morning, so you may get some delayed starts because of the temps. I don't think the snow is going to be as big of an issue tomorrow morning because it's going to taper off tonight. And here's what that looks like. And again, right now, between about 12 and 3 o'clock, seeing a few areas where it's going to be a little bit heavier, where again, you saw maybe 3 to 4 with this most recent band. You'll see potentially another 1 to 3 between now and tomorrow morning. It's cold too. Teens, feels like single digits. Overnight tonight, snow will continue, and then it's likely going to lighten up. Few flurries through early tomorrow morning, but again, as you're getting the kids out the door at 7 o'clock tomorrow morning, it's going to be right around 0. It's going to feel more like 15 to 30 degrees below 0, really cold. So be careful out there, and that is why I would think we might see a few delayed starts, because just getting the buses out on those icy roads in those really cold conditions, and they don't want the kids sitting at the bus stop for a long time if those buses are slow, so you might see a few delayed starts. Stay with Denver 7. If that happens tomorrow morning, we'll have all of that information scrolling at the bottom of the screen, and we'll be pushing out some of those alerts. If you don't have our free Denver 7 app, it's an awesome resource. Jason and I will send out really push alerts all day long if it's needed. And then tomorrow afternoon, as things start to clear, it'll get a little warmer. We'll be back in the 20s.
Jennifer says already about 5 inches in Superior and super slippery. We saw that here on one of the CDOT cameras there. Linda is asking about what the total would be in Castle Rock.
Castle Rock, you're still going to be at about 2 to 5. I would say you'll be, again, if you get a few of those bands rolling through, upwards of about 5 inches.
Kathy says Black Hawk is very snowy, can't see the roads. Manuel is saying Thornton is coming down about 3 to 4 inches.
And that's the view there, obviously, in Love. That's downtown now. Things are really slowing down on I-70.
Right. So let me go through some of those other cameras, because I wanted to show you that. But I also am getting word that there's a pretty, and you can see how this is the elevated portion of I-70, and you can see how slick it is getting in just the last few minutes. Let me get the I-25 cameras here, and you see what the difference is there at I-25 and Arapahoe Road. But I'm getting word of a pretty bad crash up around 119. This is going to be near Erie there. And then that, oh, look at those conditions. And then you can see here it's Highway 119 and I-25, and you can barely see anything up that way. I'll go through some of the other cameras. And I also was talking to some folks up around Johnson's Corner, where they were saying that it was really tough, not only there, but also up in Loveland. And sometimes it takes a minute for some of these cameras to pop up, as you can see. And there's the bridge deck there at Johnson's Corner. And you can see some of the really, really slippery conditions here on these bridges, ramps, and overpasses. So I want to take you through some of the travel times, at least for the moment. So let's take a look at the map, the overall map. And you can see there's still a lot of green out there. You see some of that red and yellow showing up, and that's from that snow that we were just looking at, that band, as it continues to move through not only Thornton and North Glen, but as it's coming towards downtown. We saw all that slow traffic on I-70 through the construction zone. So that snow is moving out towards Aurora. So we just saw some of the wet roads to the south and over in 225 and down through the Denver Tech Center. But that snow is on the way. So right now, the current drive times southbound, it's about 20 minutes with just some of the conditions, especially across downtown Denver. And I've been watching some of the bridges, and they are really starting to get icy and snow covered as well. 270, which is always busy, especially in the morning commutes. You're looking at about 10 minutes either direction there. I-70, about 15 minutes, even though I think that westbound side is really going to start slowing down, especially on that section after Colorado Boulevard 270, getting on over towards the Coliseum and over towards I-25, right in that construction zone where it's really tough. Also wanted to point out it was a pretty bad crash on Iliff just off of Parker Road, right near Dayton. That was causing some delays down there. The 225 drive times aren't too bad yet. And that's indicative of the conditions because it's basically just wet out there right now in 225. And the same thing really on the south side between downtown and the Denver Tech Center. If we had the same snow down here as we are seeing up north, these would be 25 to 35 minute drive times instead of 15 to 20 minutes. And so those will get worse and worse and worse. C470 doesn't look too bad. And just to give you an update around Santa Fe, remember we had that early morning fatal crash, unfortunately, this morning right there at Mineral, and all lanes are now open both on the north and southbound side of Santa Fe as well as Mineral, and the light rail station is all operating normally again as they were halting trains in downtown Littleton. But the C and the D lines, they are operating normally once again. I'm not really seeing any significant delays yet on 470. Out to the west side of town, though, there is a lot of snow on I-70, on Highway 36, and these are some of the drive times, and you can see it. Look, going westbound, it's about 30 minutes. It's about 45 minutes on the eastbound side. That's all indicative of that really heavy snow out there, as well as on Highway 93. And then look at this. Lisa, I-70, 75 minutes, so it's an hour and 15 minutes, an hour and 25 minutes, basically an hour and a half coming from I-70 Silverthorne all the way back here to town. So chain and traction laws there, as well as on 285. It's getting a little tough out there.
I'm actually thankful I'm working and not skiing or heading back from the mountains. And look at this shot, Jace. This is from the Capitol. We just showed you this, what, about 5 minutes ago, and you could see the Capitol, but this is that band I told you that was going to sweep right through Denver within about 5 to 15 minutes, and it is. Now, take a look at radar right now. I want to show you where that is. Now, for some of you, you already picked up about 3 to 4 inches, maybe even close to 5. You're going to probably tack on another 1 to 2 later today and tonight, so it's going to put some areas at about 4 to 6, maybe even 4 to 7. But right now, that heavy snow that was up to the north, it's cleared out. It's a lot lighter there now. You've got the heavy snow continuing to push south and east, and that's where some of the dark blue is. So right here in Denver, that is going to move south and east, Jay. So 225, you said, looks pretty good right now?
Right now.
270
and the Denver
east.
Tech Center, right.
I'm going to give it about 15, 20 minutes, and you're going to be under this heavy band of snow.
And just to answer the last of the few questions before we wrap this up, somebody was talking about the snow plows. They are out there, but unfortunately, they're going to be stuck in the same congestion. This afternoon is going to be a very tough rush hour, I think, extremely tough. And it's somebody says snowing like crazy now in the Golden Triangle, more in North Glen, North Denver, Wheat Ridge, coming down hard in Westminster, dumping in Longmont, Southwest Edge, snowing in Cheyenne.
Listen, make yourself a cup of coffee,
Look,
chill out.
Yeah,
you're not going to get anywhere
people.
fast today. It is Colorado, and we're well below normal, so it's a welcome sight. It's just at the afternoon commute. And tomorrow morning, before we leave, it's going to be cold again, well below 0 and icy. We will both be here tomorrow morning, getting you to work on Thursday. We're almost to the weekend. We're almost there.
And so please stay tuned to the denverchannel.com right here on any of the
platforms. There's a lot of platforms.
Yeah, there you go. The Roku, the Amazon Fire, the Apple TV, all of them.
They don't need a "the" before them, but yes, pay attention to all of those.
Just like the internet, right?
We'll be updating you throughout the day. We've got the rest of the crew, the weather crew coming in, Stacy, Katie, Mike, they'll all be here this afternoon. So stay with Denver 7. We'll keep you up to date and be safe out there.
And we'll see you tomorrow morning.
Yep.